And that should be the intro. I was literally waiting on you to. Oh, there it is. We are back with another installment of Fixit-N-Post. I am Dion Lack.
I'm Twilla Amin.
And we are Lactose Entertainment. Okay. There we go. All right. What's been hot in the news right now, and it's definitely unconstitutional. It has been stirring up the news, is the ban in Alabama of abortion laws. It don't make no sense that this is becoming the new fire of all the states. I can think like another 6 states is like catching
Georgia. I think it's it's a Midwest state. It's a lot of states. It's just like, hey, this sounds like a good idea.
I just need to know because there's no logical reason to confirm this. Like there has to be some sort of financial gain on the back end of them signing this bill because it doesn't help them at all. Like,
so for years, like ever since Roe versus Wade became the law of the country, like since that, there has been like, like all these fights against like Planned Parenthood and abortions. And and so the argument is always, is it a woman's choice or is it another life at stake? And so the argument, if you look, a lot of times the argument is like, when does life start? Is life at conception? Is it at a heartbeat? Is it when the brain's developed? When can we say, what is the cutoff? And there's a slippery slope for the cutoff. You just can't say it's a fetus for the sake of allowing a woman to have an abortion when the baby is 10 months old. 9 months in the womb, that type of thing. So that's been the argument. And right now we have states that's just like, you got 6 weeks right up to a heartbeat. Which, let me tell you how ridiculous this is. Can I be open?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm being totally open right now. A woman's cycle is like 28 to 30 days, sometimes 33 days. And if you're on the pill, it might not just show up at all. So there's a good chance that you go 6 weeks, 8 weeks without knowing that your cycle is missing.
Right.
So you already missed the point mark of let me make a decision of what I can do in this case. And of course, I'm not talking about all men, but men made this rule. A woman signed it into place, but men made this rule and was like, yep, that's because there's a heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah.
So my question, gosh, dude, I just need it. Are there free abortions?
Are there free abortions? Like there are places that you can go to get. I don't know if they're always free, but I know that you can get like, what you call it, lower rates. They're not the full.
Gosh, this is even worse. Cause I'm thinking like, well, only way to fight this is I just had sex, so let me go into the clinic to possibly get an abortion.
You have the Plan B pill,
but that costs money. Was that?
Yeah, it's just expensive. I mean, like
expensive. No, I'm saying like I didn't know if like there was. Like I know the pill. In some cases, they used to be free, or is it free still?
The pill, like for birth control,
right?
It's free now. It has to be covered by health insurance for cover, and then like you have places like your Planned Parenthoods that also provide access to free birth contraceptions.
I feel that this abortion conversation happened extremely fast. I didn't hear talks of anybody talking about this. Like this could possibly pass. Yeah. This could possibly happen. It was like, boom, Alabama is out here wilding.
And you know what makes me so upset is that people will say pro-life versus pro-choice, right? And pro-life are those people who are against abortions because it means, like they're protecting a life. This is what that means. Versus the people who are saying, hey, it's a woman's body and it's her choice. But if we look at the track record for a lot of the people who call themselves pro-life, they're not about that life. And they're like, these same people will or people who are against free healthcare for all, or people who don't believe in, who want to get rid of welfare, Medicaid, they don't believe in universal pre-K, they haven't said anything about the water issues in Flint. They haven't said anything about the immigrant children being detained from their parents at the border. They haven't said anything about these black kids getting shot down by crooked cops.
Yeah.
So you tote a whole pro-life banner, but the truth is you don't give a damn about life.
Right.
And so I wish people, and this is my personal pet peeve, and this, is you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite if you say you're pro-life. I wish you would just say you're anti-abortion. And then for you to be as anti-abortion to effect, if with no exceptions. That's the part that is scary. No exceptions. So in the case of rape, in the case of incest, in the case that a woman's life is at risk, you still don't care. You are not pro-life. You tend to be more pro-life for those men who rape women,
right,
who getting lesser charges than these doctors potentially in doing these procedures.
Yeah. 99 years is ridiculous.
I'm
doing your job.
Shaking because you have men walking around who raped women,
has never got 99 years,
who barely got who got sentenced to 6 months and is walking around after 3 and trying to get off the little list that they do for rapists.
They have to look at this as yo, the rapist who said, yeah, I raped her. Yeah, I did that. What I gotta do? I go to jail for what, 6 months? And he's yeah, he's gone. But then the doctor who performed the abortion, he gets 99 years?
Let's take it further than that. There are places and states and instances where the fathers, the people who have raped women, the women who have bore these children who were conceived in these horrible situations of rape and incest, where the men who raped them can actually get custody of their children. Custody where the mother, they have not just they come and they have 50-50, the mothers have to take their kids to the fathers on the weekends.
Wow. The rapist.
Can you imagine
wow,
the trauma that you incurred? The man who violated your body, this child that you have been told that you have to love, and you have to have a relationship with your father. If he raped me, I'm not saying he's a pedophile, but I don't know what he's going to do to my child. What in the hell, America?
And then he tries to hit you with you know what? I don't think she wants this relationship to work out, so I want child support.
Listen, America, we have got a moral issue.
The bigger question is, what is the underlining of this? You have to say, let me see your tax returns, man. What are you getting on the back end?
Yeah.
What is the kickback?
Do you not think, because right now, when I watch Handmaid's Tale. This feels like a real life Handmaid's Tale, where women's rights were slowly being stripped away. In Handmaid's Tale, there's scenes where you have in order for women to withdraw money from her own account, she has to have a man sign for it. And it just feels and I know you're trying to find the reasoning behind it because you're it just can't be blanket evil.
Right.
But I'm are we living in the Handmaid's Tale? Am I going to have to soon find somebody to sign, have my dad sign on my check account every time I need to withdraw money from my own account? And then pretty much it's at a point where women's names are stripped, your wife's name, or your handmaid's tale, your handmaid's name would then be your name of Roderick. This is, a woman doesn't even get to have her own name.
Identity.
Yeah. And that's what it feels like, because you're telling a woman, I don't care what your circumstance is, you're going to have this baby, whether you like it or not, whether you're going to die or not. And they say, well, you could take it before the law, or you get to court, and the court can decide if this procedure is necessary. You ain't no doctor.
Right. I need a jury for this?
And it's like, what if I need this procedure today?
Today. I am this baby inside of me is...
It is after 5. The court's going to open up to take this special case? No. No. Like, why are we giving the law more say than the doctor who studied this? That is...
Yeah.
It has to be deemed unconstitutional somehow. And then, like... And I'm not saying... I guess I'm what you would call... I feel like I'm a pro-lifer in the sense that I am for life for everybody. And I'm not saying that I'm the person toting around saying, hey, you get an abortion, you get an abortion. I think that's... You got to be responsible. Right. But I still think, like, for some reason, I can't get down with any law that tells a woman what she has to do with her body, because there's different... Everybody has a different situation. And in that... being, for the time being that it's in her body, is actually changing. If you ever study what happens to a woman's body
right
when they're pregnant, your whole body is becoming...
And you know what's about to turn, it's going to turn into?
What?
It's going to be some under the table abortionist people.
Yeah.
That's like... Or that women gonna try to do it themselves.
And that's what was happening in the 60s before Roe versus Wade. People were dying because they were having these, bleeding out from these botched abortions, because they weren't allowed to actually have them in safe places that were sterile and healthy and things like that. But, like, to tell a 12-year-old that you gotta bear this man's child, yes, he's your relative that just raped you, that's disgusting. To tell a woman that, hey, I know you're at risk, you have preeclampsia, you have all these other things, your child might also be born with similar deformity. If you have this child, you're going to die, but you must have it.
You know the argument that always happens with white folks, it doesn't matter. White folks always talk to black people, they say stuff like, if you couldn't afford this child, you shouldn't have brought it into this world. You on welfare? You shouldn't have. You're taking the government's money. You're taking advantage of the government.
That's why I say they're hypocrites, right?
It's like they care about the child until the child is born,
right?
And then they try to say, like, it's your fault. Like, I was raped. You told me I told you from the beginning I couldn't afford this child, and now that the baby is out, I'm asking for welfare, and now you're telling me that I'm taking advantage of the system,
right? It's so many levels. Like, once that baby gets here, there's so many challenges that they're up against. And if you're really truly pro-life, because a lot of times this conversation comes from conservatives, it comes from a lot of churches too, and I understand the positioning, but I'm saying that you have to not just care once the child, like, you can't stop caring once the child gets here. You have to care about their water. You got to care about their health care. You got to care about them having equal access. You got to care about them having the certain inalienable rights. You have to care about their rights to the Constitution just as much as you care about that child when it's in that woman's body, when the woman's body is changing to cater and to take care of this child. It's like, study it. The things that happen to a woman's body. And women are dying at high rates.
Imagine the stress on top of that.
Yeah.
Now that a woman is pregnant and she knows that I cannot abort this child, and the amount of stress that will come upon her. Now she's
living in terror.
Right. And she might have a stillbirth or what's it called?
But then there's loopholes. If you look at this, I don't know if you saw this article I sent you. There's actual loopholes. Like, people are saying, like, when you have laws that's this certain, this blanket, they'll even have to examine stillbirths. Like, well, how was this baby treated while pregnant, are you at fault? And there's actually cases where women have gone to jail for having stillborn babies and not necessarily being proven that they did anything to harm that child. I think one case was in a car accident and the woman
had to go to jail.
Yeah.
So I would love to ask, in these people that's pro-life, asking like Tamir Rice, what's more important, this little boy or a 7-week fetus inside of a pregnant woman's stomach?
That's good.
Because this little boy did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
The cops came in flying and start shooting, but that cop got off, right? So it's like you have to kind of be like, he has no excuses. You can't say he was resisting arrest or he was running. This boy was playing with a toy.
Yeah.
And the police roll up and shot him. So it was like who has more of, leeway? I don't know.
Right.
What
or more like
whose life is more important?
Yeah, you're assigning value to a life, and then the person who's already here, who already had memories, who already had family, his life was snuffed out, and people don't blink twice about it. But you don't.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. Like I look at the news sometimes. I'll be like, we are a nation full of hypocrites. Yeah. We are a nation. There's a toddler that was killed at the border last week, detained by the U.S. government. A toddler died while being detained on the border the same week that these people under the banner of pro-life passed such restrictive laws. I actually cried. Like it infuriates me so that we're able to look and just turn the other cheek to certain things and then raise hell about other things and not seeing that what you're actually doing, what you're actually bringing upon women by forcing women to have children, not allowing them having them to have to seek permission for things to do with your body. You are at the very beginnings of slavery. All this infuriates me.
It's going to take, and I don't want to wish this on anybody's daughter or niece. It's going to take one of those politicians, those men of power, to actually have to hear a story of their daughter, niece, granddaughter being raped, and they finding out at the 8-week point. And they're going to be like, no, she's an exception because of this.
But I guarantee you, some of those men who signed that bill either have used that service, but they have access. They have things that money,
under the table,
the table, healthy